Hello, everybody. Welcome to EnigmaCast, where history meets mystery. This is our very first episode here. My name is Professor Augustus. Introducing my friend out on the West Coast, Rooster. Say hello.
What's up, people? How you doing?
Introducing Azul, our channel mascot. And I'd like to introduce our personal assistant, Grace Huxley.
Welcome to the podcast, losers.
Come on, Grace, be nice. All right, here we go, everybody. So what we're going to get in today, our very first episode as we go. We've never done this before, but we thought it'd be a lot of fun. And so we thought we would pick a topic that seems to be a lightning rod right now. I didn't even know this was a thing until recently, but we're going to talk about the flat earth theory and why it is it's becoming popular on that. So other than that, we'll get into it. So, all right, Brewster, what do you know about the flat earth theory out there in the West Coast?
Some confusing stuff, man. I don't lean. You know what? I've always been taught round Earth, and then in this last year, it's gotten really big about flat Earth for me. Noticing. I can go either way, man. I just want to hear some thoughts on people. And what do you got?
I'll tell you what. So I did some digging, I did some research, and I'll tell you that at first, I don't know, man. I don't want to say I was arrogantly dismissive, but man, these people almost had me convinced. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like they are too all. So look, full disclaimer for you flat earthers out there. I'm not laughing at you. I'm not knocking you down, right? So we're not roundies. We're not flatties, but we're not roundies, all right? So if you want us to get on board, you're gonna have to convince me. And as we go into the podcast here, I'll tell you a bit more. But I'll tell you what. So they put up a convincing argument, but there's also some very convincing, counter arguments here. So I did some digging, bro. And first thing I had to dig into is where is this coming from? What's the deal? Is it just, something on a whim? But evidently there's actually biblical references to it, and they also have they lean on this thing that happened in 1946. I'll tell you about. But so the premises of this flat Earth, what I consider from what I researched on it, man, is one of the pillars of the argument of the flat Earth is they talk about this thing called the firmament. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And the first time that the firmament is mentioned is literally in Genesis 1. Best-selling book ever. The oldest written book ever. First history book ever. And I was like, okay. But then it later goes on in the Bible to be mentioned 10 other times, dude. And I'm like, okay, right? So we'll talk about that in some detail. But also in 1946, there was an operation ran by this guy. His name was Admiral Byrd. And it was August 23rd, 1946 is when it happened. He sailed an armada down to Antarctica, supposedly under the guise of, looking for Nazis that got away from the war. And this dude went down there, and we'll have to do a separate podcast about that. As a matter of fact, we need to write that down. A separate podcast on that. According to him, man, he encountered UFOs and flying saucers. And they whipped his ass, told him that they had to leave. And so he said that these things were so fast that they could go from South Pole to North Pole back and forth like it was nothing. And you can't laugh about that anymore because, the government lies to us all the time, but even they're coming out saying that, aliens are real. So the flat earthers lean on that, and they lean on the Bible to lay out their, we'll say theory, all right? Lay out their theory of why the earth is flat, why they lied to us about it. And man, if it ever turned out to be true, dude, that had to be the greatest Kaiser Soze moment in history, man. The biggest, convince the entire planet that the planet's round and it's actually flat. So,
and not to mention all the wasted tax dollars on these supposed flights to space.
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's another thing too, right? I'm actually going to debunk something here as well. During the research, I came across that they tried to say that NASA is Hebrew for the word deceive, and I was like, oh wow, that's crazy, right? But I did some digging, man. I went to a Hebrew dictionary for the Old Testament, man, and NASA in Hebrew is actually Nasha, like Nasha, and according to that definition, it means to lift up, right? To uplift. And so, yeah, so that's strike one. Clink. So NASA does not mean to deceive. And don't try to tell me that they edited the dictionary or something like that. So we'll just strike out what we can right now. So I didn't buy into that, man. That NASA does not mean to deceive. Now, does that mean that that NASA doesn't lie to us? Oh man, all the time, bro. Like, as the other podcasts go, dude, I am not a fan of NASA, and I'm not a fan of the Smithsonian. And
right,
yeah, they lie to us all the time. There's another good thing I want to talk to you about, man, is about the astronauts that they say supposedly died on, like, I think it was Challenger 12. Remember when it blew up? Challenger 12 blew up or whatever?
Sorry to interrupt you, but even with, I was going to bring that point up as well. We had a school teacher, first school teacher to ever be able to travel to space was in that flight.
Right.
That flight explodes, right? Killing a person that could verify to normal people. Right. So I lean both ways.
And so I saw this thing on, I think it was Instagram or whatever, and supposedly I haven't even done any type of looking on this. Two of the guys on that shuttle supposedly have twins, right? And they say that their twins are like professors or whatever here, and everybody that was on that crew seems to have a twin or somebody that looks really, really, really like them. And so they're trying to say, again, like, man, I remember, obviously, we grew up in the South, everybody. So we were up in the Carolina area, the Tennessee area. We weren't down in Florida, so we didn't see it blow up. But I remember when it blew up. I remember them coming out talking about it, right? People say, like, oh, yeah, it blew up. There was just nobody on it. And I'm like, why? So they're saying that that's a whole other thing. We'll dig into that hole later, bro. But anyway, so back to the topic out here. That's what they say, bro. And this is not something that it ain't a small group of people that are buying into this, by no means, right? I looked up a couple of names just on a whim. I was like, who is talking about it, right? You can go online. You can go onto YouTube, man. There's channels dedicated to this, man. Instagram accounts and like all this stuff.
Millions of people.
Yeah, but evidently, man, Shaquille O'Neal is a flat earther. And I was like, okay. And so this guy, DJ Khalid, up in, I think, New York or whatever, is a flat earther. And the girl, Millie Bobby Brown from that show on Netflix, I actually like that show, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
She's a flat earther. And I'm like, okay. That doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, so, but they do have an audience. They do have influence, and like they don't shy away from it. But
well, yeah, right. He was trying to he started a GoFundMe page in 2017 to build his own satellites to send into space. So because he was a flat earther. Okay. I don't know, accomplished what he was trying to do, but there are plenty of them out there.
Oh, I gotta find that page. I gotta put at least 20 on it, man. I gotta throw some bones on that just to find out, right? Just let us know. But like I said, man, it would be the head fake of forever. Like if that ever came out. But I actually have some personal experience on why I'm a roundie. I personally lean towards the Earth being round. It's because I have actually flown around the entire globe, right? And going in one direction. So I'll tell that story. Took a flight out of Singapore, heading east, went to Japan. Then from Japan, flew over to Los Angeles, LA. Then from LA, flew to New York, still heading east, obviously. From LA to from New York to Germany. From Germany, I flew into either, I think it was Bahrain or Saudi Arabia. I flew into there. And then it's probably Bahrain, I think. And then from Bahrain, I flew in back to Singapore. So I circled the globe one time, a lap. I lapped this bad boy, heading east.
No.
And I didn't see any voids. We didn't go upside down and come back around. Like, there was heading east. And so it was crazy because I think I saw the sun rise like 3 times. It was wild because as we were going, like, it's like a 36 hours that this was taking place or something like that. As we were going, like, it was just wild how it was going down. But yeah, so that's strike one for me, man. Right?
So I feel like we may hear in the comments from somebody, a flat earther maybe, that's going to say that during one point in your flight, it is time for everybody to be asleep. That plane turns directions or something. You know?
Yeah, so I mean, I did go to sleep. It's like I did sleep on that flight. But yeah, and so, but another thing too is that I've actually, in Bali, I watched the sunset to the west, and I also watched ships, sailboats, head out, and I watched them get smaller and smaller and smaller and go down, like, and just eventually just disappear like over the horizon. So it wasn't that they didn't go out of sight where I couldn't see them, you know, like you only see so far, but I've watched them go down. So I got to say that the curvature of the earth, man, is legit. And this is my opinion on that. But like you said,
we grew up, thought was round earth. So, I mean, it's going to be hard for a flat earther to make me believe, but I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it's going to take evidence.
Tell you what, man, you would rock my world if you did, because like there's a few things, man, that I'd be able to latch on to. I'm like, all right, man, no matter what's going on right now. I mean, everything is crazy right now, right? So something's about to give. I don't know what it is. Aliens are real. All this other crazy stuff was going on.
So I guess my biggest question is, with the flat earth, for the flat earthers, is if the earth is flat, are they saying that there is no outer space, or what surrounds?
So in their theory, it's water, because in Genesis it talks about God separated the earth from the waters above and below. So supposedly this firmament is keeping the water out. There's water at the top of it. There's water at the, water underneath it as well. So supposedly it's a separation, a void or a shield, right? And from the drawings I've seen, just imagine a plate and the earth was on the plate and then there was like a dome on it. And I even saw a crazy thing, man. They, you ever seen the Simpsons episode where they crack the firmament and the water comes pouring through? You ever see that before?
I don't think no.
There's actually it might have been in a movie, man. Like I think they like Homer hits a baseball. I forget what it is, man. Or I think he has a beer cannon gun or whatever, and he shoots a Duff beer at the and hits this dome, and the water starts pouring in it, right? And you would think that's something that people that would make fun of it, but then like that leads you down a whole nother rabbit hole of all the things that supposedly the Simpsons have predicted that come true.
Yeah.
So
it's sad we're got to go for truth and watch a cartoon.
That's exactly right. I get my truth from the Simpsons, man. So yeah, so that's the thing. The firmament keeps the water out, and we're on a dish, and it gets a little bit crazy. It gets a little bit like I don't want to use the word crazy, man, but it gets a little bit more wilder, is for lack of a better word to use. Like I said, I don't want to don't insult a flat earther, man. They'll go crazy on you, dude. If you want the smoke, man, just jump into a flat earth discussion and try to throw some at it, man, and you'll get on it. So, but like you just said, like Rusha said, if you want to convince us, man, convince me in the comments. I've watched some videos.
What about rockets that go up out of sight?
Right.
Don't explode. I mean, where do they go?
I don't know.
Are they stuck in?
Right.
I mean, right? Yeah. So
he's splashing down. I don't know.
I've looked online at the Tesla SpaceX car floating in space that Elon Musk launched into space with a mannequin or whatever dressed in an astronaut uniform sitting behind the steering wheel, and camera views show around Earth. So I mean, I'm sure I'll hear that that's faked, and it's probably a car hanging in a warehouse somewhere with looking down on a little a small version of Earth that round Earthers think is round.
Yeah. Well, and so the flat earthers also, they debunk that. They say that ISIS, the International Space Station or whatever, is fake. That it's actually underwater. And they quote these things called bubbles in space. And you've actually seen a couple of them go to like conventions in, I guess Florida. And then they'll question and ask the guys like, hey, can you explain why we're seeing bubbles or whatever? And so they say that the Earth, it's all CGI. I mean, the people that must be involved in this, like every pilot on the planet has to be involved in it, right? I guess. And so...
but there's my thing again. So every pilot on the planet's involved with this, right? Every pilot has families, has generations of families.
Yeah.
You telling me that not one of them slipped up and said, hey, this is what's really going on, and that shit is going to leak through somebody.
And bro, it would totally be a Spirit Airlines pilot. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a shit, right? So yeah, so you mean to tell me the Spirit Airline guys are involved on this? Oh man, the most scared I've ever been, dude, was a Spirit flight, man, from Colombia, man. I think I was flying into Miami, dude. Man, this dude, I don't know, he had to be somewhere in a hurry, bro. It was one speed the whole time. And so yeah, man, so that leads me, that's another thing that makes me think that I've never heard any, so you hear it all the time, not all, but like a lot of the people when they were pushing back that they were, the government totally was covering up the alien thing, right? It's always a story about some guy, like you said, on his deathbed. Hey, look, on my deathbed. Hey, look, this was real. This really happened. You never heard a pilot come on his deathbed saying, hey, look, man, the Earth is flat. Look, that ain't real, man. They teach us that. We have like once you get to a certain, point in flight school, they let you know that it's flat.
All pilots are trained with a flat Earth map.
Right. So, yeah. And they'll also use one of their sophisticated talking points and I don't have the answer for this. They'll bring up why some flights don't go directly to each other, right? And they'll lay a map flat and they say this is why they don't fly here because they do this, and they'll use that as a reason for it. But like I said, I've flown around the Earth one time. I've lapped this bad boy one time, right? Going east. See? The whole time.
And then you brought up that conversation and your proof. Man, I was already turning into a flat earther, man. Didn't even realize.
The flatties, man, not the roundies. Team flatties.
You brought me back to roundies after your
right?
flight.
Right? Team flatties, team roundies. Yeah, man. So, and then here's another thing too that they brought up, right? So this Admiral Birdcat, man, we're gonna do a topic on him alone. This also, if I told you, man, that wasn't the weirdest thing that ever happened to this dude, you would think I was crazy, man. But like him getting ran out of Antarctica by aliens is not the weirdest thing that ever happened to this dude. This dude is an admiral, but it also makes me think like, why does somebody being an admiral lend credibility to their story when we have politicians that lie to us all the time, right? So that doesn't mean anything to me, right? But this dude supposedly discovered Agartha, which is the inner Earth, hollow Earth theory, and I think he flew into a hole, and it was either the North Pole, I think it was. He flew into a hole, right? And yeah, it's called Agartha. We'll do a show on that, or an episode on that as well. Agartha, right? So that's not even the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. But it's like, it got me thinking, like, imagine this guy's life, right? Like, hey, man, remember that time you saw UFOs? And you'd be like, yo, UFOs. Remember that time I went to the Earth? You know what I'm saying, right? Inside the Earth, and it was hollow. And there was, like, these people in there just, kicking out. But anyway, so they use him going to Antarctica. So the flat Earth theory is that he went to Antarctica, and he ran away, right? He was supposedly that whole armada was turned around. But they say it's because if you take the Earth, like I got this little pyramid thing here, right? So if we view the Earth like this, right? But if you take the Earth and you flatten it out, supposedly around this bad boy, there's an ice wall. And he went down to the ice wall, and they turned him around and said, hey, look, you can't be here anymore. They turned him around from the ice wall, and they sent him back. But they say on the other side of this wall, right? And I mean, cue up the Game of Thrones memes, right, or whatever. Like Jon Snow's down there, the Night Watch won't let you get through the ice wall, but the flat Earth theory is on the other side of this ice wall. There's these other continents of lands, dude. I actually found a map on Reddit. That doesn't mean it's true or whatever. It's actually, I'll throw it up on the screen in post edit, but there is, they say on the other side of this ice wall, there's all these other lands, and one of them's called Nymeria. There's Atlantis is down there, and supposedly at Nymeria and Atlantis were ancient enemies way back in the day for like 3,000 years.
But what we were told, Atlantis sunk.
Yeah, so that would be a lie. But then, like, look,
Right.
if you convince, if you've proved me that the Earth is flat, and I thought it was round, then I got to say everything's a lie. I won't believe nothing, right?
That on the other side of a ice wall, yeah, for sure.
Right. So on the other side of this ice wall, they have, you know, other lands, other areas, other beings. We're so dangerous, we're so violent that they keep us contained in this area, right? But then that goes, but then that, to me, that like debunks the firmament theory in the Bible, which I believe in the Bible. But it doesn't say anything about an ice wall, that God created an ice wall. He said he created the firmament, and he created, you know, this other stuff, right? So if you're telling me there's an ice wall down there on the other side of the ice wall, but then you're leaning on this to be your, you know, a pillar of the discussion, it makes me question it that it doesn't mention it in there. And I've got a good book, man. We'll go over, dude. I've got the apocryphal writings, dude, about the books they took out: Enoch, Jubilees, I think the Book of Giants. And it doesn't talk about an ice wall. It doesn't talk about Nymeria or anything like that. There is several references in the Bible that give that lend credit to the hollow earth theory. It talks about, you know, God is Lord over those on the earth and in it. It says it several times, in it. And it does talk about giants. So yeah, we'll get into that as well. So that is all real and true. But it doesn't say anything about an ice wall.
But what I've found is the flat earth, whole subject of flat earth started in like 1873 or something, and it was a Christian group. It was an anti-Christian group that was going against the Christian faith and the beliefs that the Christians were teaching, and that's where they started with the flat earth. So I don't know. I'm going to go deeper into that and find out more about it, and we'll definitely have to circle back on this for sure.
Yeah, and so, but I will say this, yo, the flatties and the roundies, yo, they bang, son. They throw hands.
Yeah.
Like they like do like. I've noticed though that I would consider myself a roundy, right? Like, but I do know that, man, some of you roundies, man, you guys are a little rude, and so flat earthers, when they're having their conversation, some of these guys come in and they go hard in the paint on these guys, and they just start letting them have it, and then of course the flatties come back hard as well. But
yeah, I've seen that shit, and the flatties go just as hard. So
they go hard, right? Yeah, they do, right? So
believe
they go hard in that, and then the one of the more interesting arguments that I've seen, or I wouldn't call it an argument, one of the more interesting bullet points in the theory is that they say, I've heard this several times, that I don't consider them elites, but the people that are trying to, you know, pollute the earth or pollute the world, they got to tell you what they're doing, right? And so they'll say that the UN symbol is them letting you know that the earth is actually flat. And basically it's the earth, all the continents, like on a circle. But to me, it's like, you can't make that a 3D model where it like spins. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but that's yeah, that's another one that they hold high into there to do it to
so
back up their points. So not laughing at the flat earthers, not laughing at them, not challenging you. I'm sharing my personal experiences with you to let you know that I went there. And unless you're trying to tell me that if you head one way or the other way far enough, you like magically teleported like a wormhole, you're back on the other side where you started to go through it, right? I mean, even if you go like north or south, but
that right?
Yeah, but also too, like if you're telling me the Earth is a plate, right, and that the Earth is flat, and that the sun moves over the Earth, that doesn't explain to me the changes in the season. Like, you know, in the wintertime, the days get shorter, it gets colder, unless you're in the southern hemisphere of the Earth, and they get longer and hotter. And so that would mean that the equator, which I've been across several times, the equator right down the middle where the sun goes across, it stays super hot. And so again, that doesn't make any the wobble, the Earth's wobble, the rotation of the Earth's wobble in the months. Give credit to the seasons differencing in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Unless the plate wobbles, unless you're telling me we're like on a plate, right? And it like wobbles like that, then I don't know. Maybe I just gave flat earthers something to add more ammunition there.
Got the sun supposedly floating around inside the firmament.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so the sun's in the firmament, the moon's in the firmament, and they say that you can see the firmament behind the moon. Okay. They're saying that so that the moon's there, you can look behind it and you can see the firmament behind the moon. And I'm just like,
so the question would be, why wouldn't gravity pull them down to the ground?
Well, so they don't think so flat earthers don't believe in gravity. That's another thing I noticed too. They don't believe from what I don't want to do them this. So like any of you flat earthers are watching, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to bring the smoke. So let us know in the below. You're welcome to hit us up. I'll bring you on here. I'm saying like, if you're a flat earther watching this, I'll bring you on here and put you right in the middle of us and convince us.
Right.
Yeah.
We're open.
They say there's no gravity and that it's some other, I forget what it is, man, some other force that's like pushing us down. I forget what it was. I heard that earlier today. I was getting the car washed and I had it playing on my phone, and somebody was talking about, there is no such thing as gravity. It's something else that's doing it. That keeps us rooted onto it. But yeah, and so that leads me to. But there's also some things that make me, man, like there's some strange stuff that goes on in outer space, dude. Like I don't know if you've seen this Instagram. I saw it on Instagram. The hand of God, they call it, that touches a star. So they've got these these telescopes now that are so powerful that like you can just over the counter, you can buy them. And like these things they're powerful. They can magnify, they can drill in, right? And someone dialed it into a star. And that star, man, it looked like a plate that was just vibrating with like this golden like liquid in it. And I don't know if this is a deep fake. Hats off to you, man. It's a good deep fake. They stick a shadowy hand goes into the star and it like mixes it. It does like some like it does like this thing on it and it comes back and it is I don't know what it is, man, but it is a hand, dude. I don't know what star it is. I don't know where it was done out or whatever. But to me, it looks like
it would definitely have to be the hand of God, or it's fake.
Yeah, or it's either somebody with a bowl of water with a flashlight under it, running their hand through it, or it's something else. I don't know, but I'll say that it was a pretty cool video. I gave it a like. I thought it was cool. I gave it a heart or whatever it was, man. I thought it was cool.
Where did you find that video?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. I think it's called the Hand of God Star Hand of God or something. If you type that in there, it'll come up.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that.
To dig into that and look at it. But that is what I've learned today about the flat Earth. And so I did my research on it, and I gotta say, I'm a roundie still.
And I am too. And I think pretty much the thing that's making me lean that way the most and stay that way, and not just what we want, is your family. I believe what you say, and I know you've made those trips around.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a roundie, and if anybody can come in these comments, like he said, that we'll put you on here and make us a believer.
And so look, before y'all start flaming us too, me and this dude, we believe in some pretty wild stuff. Like, so if I started laying out the stuff that I believe in and going down the list on that, I gotta say, man, like people have told me, like, yo, man, you're weird. Right? So I'm like, but I read this stuff and I've seen some stuff that we'll get into as the channel progresses, man. I've seen some shit. But man, like the earth being flat, man, that is a stretch for me. And like I say, bro, like that's a stretch. And then but like I said, if we invite all the heat, man. We invite it, right? But I tell you what, like, what's that?
A lot to get me to convert to flat Earth.
Yeah,
but
it'll shake it'll shake my foundation, dude. I won't know what to believe in anymore, man. I'm like, all right,
we'd have to line our older members of our family up, smack them all in the mouth.
Yeah, that's for real, right? Yeah. What do y'all take? How we just not finding out about this now, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, and don't, if you're going to jump in the comments, don't jump in and say sheeple. We're not sheep, dude. All right. Like I said, we're sheeples, and you know, you'll be laughing we'll be laughing at you when this is proven right. Yeah. No, you won't. I said, because like, I will admit, if you come out and you convince me that the earth is flat and really, you have that aha moment. It will, like I said, man, it will crash my psyche, man. It will make me question, because I'll think about that flat, like, then how did that even happen, right? Like, how did that even happen, right? So,
probably have to hit afterwards.
What's that?
Probably have to have therapy afterwards.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'll have to talk to somebody and say, so you know what? Nothing's real anymore.
Yes.
Just I stretch out on a couch, like nothing's real anymore. But yeah,
absolutely.
So if you're a flatty, we're roundies. We come in peace. But if you want to come on here and you want to have a conversation with us, pull you into the Discord and we'll have that conversation. And I will listen with an open mind. Because the last, I don't know, man, the last 3 years have just been like upside down world, right? And so, like anything is possible. But I tell you what, man, I'm not on that. I'm not ready to get into that lane, right? To jump on that. So, but we'll see. Anyways, so that wraps up this first episode, guys. I hope you've stuck around this long. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe as well, if that would be even greater. We're trying to we want to times 10 this channel. We got 100 and some subs. We want to go to 1,000 subs, then 10,000, then 100, etc., etc., etc. If you got some topic, what's that?
I said, come along with us.
Yeah, come along, right? And it's like, trust me, when you start hearing other podcasts, we're not debunkers.
That's right.
We are all in on some weird stuff ourselves, right? We are not debunkers. And so give us a subscribe, give us a like, stick around. This is our very first podcast. We're still figuring everything out with the optics. It'll get better with the cameras and the lighting and all this other stuff. Give us some suggestions down there as well. And we'll see you the next time. What do you got, Rooster? Anything?
Man, we will flat out see you around.
All right, man. We'll see everybody later. Bye.